Welcome to the Miles to Zen podcast. I'm your host, Shannon Miles Halliday. Today we are celebrating 6 months of the Miles to Zen podcast. And at the end of each interview, I ask all my guests for some words of wisdom. And I thought it would be fun to recap all of the words of wisdom and share with you today. So over the next 25 minutes or so, you'll get to hear from all the people I've interviewed. And I'm so grateful to all my guests who have brought such wonderful perspectives, who are all such epic, heart-centered humans and are really looking to make the world a better place, whether through their work or just how they're showing up in the world. And thank you so much to all of you who are listening. I've had now over 4,200 views and downloads on all the channels, and I am beyond grateful for your enthusiasm and your support. And thank you so much for being open-minded and curious and also heart-centered, because if you weren't, you would not be interested in this content. So thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy this episode. I know I just loved listening to these words of wisdom again, and hopefully it will brighten your day and give you some ideas. And if any of these episodes or any of these words of wisdom resonate with you, check out the full podcast with whoever it may be, because I guarantee you will love the full podcast. So thank you so much and enjoy. Sam Plavins.
Some common themes and epiphanies from my clients and like even myself, because I'm still on a journey of learning and figuring out who I am. One of them is that, if we don't give ourselves a chance to find out what we're made of, we could get to the end of our lives and never really have tapped into that power. And when you can tap into that power, it will spill over into all the areas of your life. So I had a woman come to Jordan, and she was quite concerned about the challenge of the hiking. And it was very rugged and very intense, and probably the most physical thing she'd ever done in her life. And at the end of it, she realized, like, I can trust myself. I am stronger than I think. And that self-trust piece of knowing that, you do have what it takes is really what we need to make a decision and make a pivot or a change in our life. And whether it's huge change, life overhaul, or just something, as simple as like deciding that you're going to try and make your health a priority. Like knowing that you can do it and proving to yourself is so powerful. So I think that's kind of my takeaway. The punchline of all of these adventures that I've done for women is to help show them that they already have what it takes. They just haven't discovered it in that way that's going to like light up their self-trust.
Patricia Stevens.
Oh my goodness sakes. No, I don't know how I'd answer that.
Live positive.
What's that saying? Be
You're positive, no?
true unto yourself or something?
Yes, yeah. Exactly.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
Be true unto yourself.
And laugh when the world laughs with you, cry and you cry alone. So
oh, that's good.
no, it's just you only got one life to live, and that's when you get to my age, you say it's short.
Monika Tschuggnall.
I think the essence of what we talk today is about really listening to your heart. How can you listen to your heart? Not when you hustle, not when you are busy, not when you run from one to the other. You need pause. And I know, maybe you're a busy mom and you have a job and you have to do this and that and you go to bed at 11. Okay, but there is always a time in between where you can stop for a minute or for 5 minutes and just take your time. And then also, nothing has to be perfect. So give yourself the time, pause, and look inside. How do you feel? And this is where you tap into your inner guidance, which will lead you to your passion, that will lead you to your purpose, which will lead you to your happiness, not in outside, but inside. When you then say, yes, but I have to do so many things, don't have time for that. The other way around, you don't have time, do not listen to that. That's it. And yeah, it's just, and it needs a little bit practice. Start with 5 minutes a day. Okay, listen, okay, how do I feel actually? And then extend it. You don't have to do an hour meditation every day. Just tap in and see who is running the show now. Is it me? Is it fear? Oh, yeah. And sometimes it's really good to have someone mirroring that. And this can be your best friend or your partner, whoever you feel comfortable with, to really, like talk about that. Give yourself the time and then express it, whatever comes up. And trust it. Do whatever is there, what says this voice within you. Fear will come in between and try to give you excuses for why you don't do it. But don't listen to that. Listen to your intuition, and we know that voice, this subtle voice, which is not so loud like the fear, but it's more subtle and compassionate and gentle. But the more you have the time to tap within, the more you will be able to listen to that. And the more you listen to that, the more you get used to it. And then it becomes your inner compass.
Shannon Takacs.
I think one of the juiciest little nuggets that I ever stumbled across in my own lived experience after being part of a birth team for my girlfriend and driving home after the birth and realizing later down the road, oh, it's the same love that's available at birth. If you're lucky enough to have witnessed a birth, not everybody is. And I haven't birthed my own children, but I was lucky enough to be in the room twice. The same love, it's the same love. So if we're afraid to look at like the loss part, the death, the grief, the dying, the transitions, whatever you want to call it, it's the same love. It's just looks different, feels different, but it unites us the same way, right? Like what happens in forest fires, what happens in big devastation moments, floods, blah, 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 blah. We always come together in community helping one another. That's just our innate way of being. So let's just do that.
Right.
Let's just do that. Let's just come together and meet each other where we're at. And if you feel like you're on a journey of, I've never done that in my life, what is she talking about? Go in with that. I've never done this in my life. Dared to think of loss as this thing that brings me into community. I just want to cry and like bleed all over everybody right now. Then do that. So for me, it's just about recognizing it's the same thing. It just looks different, but it unites us in the same way if we allow it. And that's to me what's so exciting about it and why I'm so inspired to keep talking about it. And I just think it's like a muscle when you haven't been at the gym for a long time and your muscles sore because you haven't used it for a long time. Grief is just like that. Loss and grief is just like that. It's not comfortable. It feels hard, but there's always gains at the end of it. And the gains is to live a better life, well intact and joy filled, as opposed to being taken out at your knees and not knowing how to get back up.
Ginette, Biro.
That would be conscious choice. That would be a lesson that I brought back with me from that near-death experience from my guides, is our capacity for conscious choice in everything we do is so much more valuable than I think we give ourselves credit for. I think oftentimes we get easily pulled into, I was going to say stuck, but I'm going to say easily pulled into the thought of like, why is the world this way? Why is this happening? Kind of poor me, victim mentality. And that's a very fair and valid thing because there's been a lot going on and a lot changing and a lot people have had to confront. But in every single situation, we have the capacity for conscious choice. Sometimes those choices are really big choices. Sometimes they're really small. Sometimes all we can choose is a shift in perspective, but we can choose that shift in perspective. We are never without any kind of a choice. And I know some people might hear that and be like, well, what about this? What about that? And I understand, but that's where I'm speaking perspective.
Dr. Lorne Brown.
Well, Viktor Frankl quote comes up for me. And I've modified it for this kind of work. So it kind of goes that in every, and then I can elaborate with my words of wisdom if you like. In every situation, you either unconsciously, habitually react, or you can consciously choose to respond. And so this is what this conscious work's about, being present. The unconscious habitual reaction means you're in fight or flight mode, that survival mode. And you're in the unconscious programs that you didn't choose. You inherited them. They got imprinted on you. And when you're able to interrupt the story, which I think NAC does as a process, which many teachers of consciousness talk about this in other cultures for traditions, you interrupt the story, and that gives you an opportunity now. There's a pause there where you can choose how you want to be or how to respond. And I think that when we heal and we feel whole and complete, then the whole world changes and you can be at peace in an unhappy situation. And so if my words of the wisdom that's coming to me, and this is for Lorne Brown to listen to, and so I'm sharing it with you guys, so I remind myself that rather than going to work on the outside world, thinking that's going to make me happy, to make time to work on my inside world. Because when I shift, when my perception shifts, I change the lens, I have a different perception of the world. And when I'm not coming from fear and lack, because fear and lack will lead to action that leads to more fear and action, I'll feel separate. So I need to attack somebody. I need to cheat somebody. I got to compete with somebody. When I do the inner work and I tap into, I don't know, they call it consciousness, your higher self, wisdom consciousness. I don't know what exactly we're tapping into. I just know what the experience is that I'm observing, which I prefer. So that tells you I'm not awakened yet. I'm in the awakening state because I hear you don't differentiate between the sad and the joy. I still prefer the joy. But
Yeah,
when you
me
do
too.
that inner work and you feel kind of whole and complete, then inspired thought comes through you, which leads to inspired action and usually get more. And so when you feel whole and complete, you kind of want to join with others. So I don't need to compete with you. I want to cooperate with you. I don't need to go to war with you. And you just want to share more. And you don't need to join gangs to feel belonging because you feel belonging inside. You don't need the relationship to feel love because you are loving. And so there's just a different shift because you're filled up from the inside rather than the outside. And then you just kind of do things differently in the world. And I assume, because it's written out there, and so I subscribe to this, that when you heal, the planet heals. So if everybody started doing their own work versus out protesting and fighting with each other, if they went in and did their own inner work, I think it would shift what we see on the outside world. I think the material outside world is a reflection of our inner world. And so we got to go work on the inside first. So that's my words of wisdom. That's what I'm constantly doing because I do fall unconscious and think the outside world has to change. I'm just at a place now that when I catch myself often thinking that it should be this way or that way, that I use that trigger as a doorway to go do my inner work and clean that up and see if the resistance drops and then experience that peace. And again, you could be at peace in an unhappy situation. So it doesn't mean you don't care about what you see out there, but you're not triggered by it.
Kim McKay.
Sure. Well, wisdom, I mean, about myself, through this experience and through my life, I've realized that I'm stronger than I thought, and I can advocate for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And to trust oneself. When I was going through this experience, I knew in my heart that I wasn't getting the answers. I just knew in my heart that I needed to keep searching, to keep asking the questions. So that's a big thing that I would like to leave with the women who listen to this podcast, is to advocate for yourself. And if you don't know how to advocate for yourself, find some support. Look for support and to show up for yourself. I've learned over the years how to show up for myself, to not wait for somebody else to show up for me.
Yeah.
To show up for myself.
Ruth E. Andermatt.
And the words of wisdom I will share is allow yourself to be propelled with the curiosity and to know that you are worth it. Whatever that means, you are worth it. And allow yourself to show up inside of that and explore and ask for what you'd like or what you need. and know that life is not a race.
Julie Jo Hughes.
I would just say one of my main themes that I want to leave people with is don't be afraid to play. Like, don't be afraid to just question everything and say, what if I did this differently than I've always done it? And just have fun with that. And in doing that, we break up these parameters that we think define us. And sometimes we break open a whole new wing that we didn't know existed, and we're able to find different parts of ourselves, which just enriches your life and just makes it more fun.
Petra Walter.
My best advice that I can give you is put yourself at the top of your priority list. Make yourself number one. Don't feel guilty or think you're selfish, because if you're not taking care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of anybody else. So you need to put yourself at the top of the list. Priority.
Doug Beitz.
If you can make a choice to make one better decision a day, because you're going to just put a challenge on the universe. I am going to make, not I want to, I am going to make one better decision a day, universe. And I believe, I'm putting you on notice right now, I believe that you're responsible for getting that message to me. I'm willing to accept it. Get it to me whichever way you can. You know where I'm at right now. You know how it will be helpful for me to receive that message. And I want to get that message, and I will act on it. Now, in the beginning, they'll be pretty basic, pretty easy to act on. If you keep doing this for months, some of the things will be harder. So just pretend the first one is step off this step that's 6 inches high. And you go, it's easy, I can do that. In 3 to 6 months' time or 5 years' time, you might be asked to step off where you cannot see the bottom. I've done that several times. And this is not going to happen in the beginning. But if you just know this, if you do have the guts to take that step, the reward at the end, you will bring you serious elation. You'll be like, oh, that was awesome. Like I could have fallen flat on my face and everyone laughed at me for the rest of my life, but everyone's now like, wow, how did you do that? How did you come up with that idea? How did it work? Like, because that could have gone so wrong. Like, and I've had experiences like that. So yeah, just dare yourself, dare the universe. I am going to make one better decision a day based on the messages you get to me, universe. So every day, and I'm going to get a book and I'm going to write it down. This is what the universe said to me today, sent the message through to me, whatever it is, however it is, and I will act on it. I'll do it. Because in the beginning, it'll be basic stuff. It'll be a choice between two things, something simple. So you don't get full-blown things when you're first dabbling into this, you know. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's helpful.
Dale McCarthy.
The thing is, humans, we're trying to figure stuff out. So we need to trust.
Right.
So instead of trying to figure things out and how we're going to do this, when we do this, whatever, my thing is that you just have faith and trust in the universe and know that it'll happen. So what I always say, if you're unsure of something or you'd like to have an answer, my thing is before you go to bed, and the reason while you're in bed is because your subconscious takes over, so you're out of your head. And you sit there and just say, hey, at some point, I would love another fur being in this. So whenever you feel that the timing is appropriate, I trust that you'll bring it in. Or if it is meant to be. And that's the thing, because when we're trying to figure stuff out, we'll either get what we don't need to deal with, we'll get what we don't need because that's what we're going through now, or we'll get so that it'll be like a spinning top and nothing can land. So the most important thing for me is whenever I learned in my past was I just going, I don't know where this is going to take me. So I changed it to said, this has come in for a reason that somehow you, and I call it my non-spirit family, right? Which is to me, the higher powers, heaven, whatever you believe in, plus also spirit guides, plus my passed on relatives and animals and angels and all those wonderful beings. You can take me whatever way, right, you want to help me, whichever direction you want to take me, I am going with you. Let me know what I need to do, or just give me signs. And it's interesting because when we get out of our own way, things will hurt.
Dan Goerke. So I'm stealing your piece of wisdom, but you're welcome to add to it.
No, please go. Please go.
So
Yes.
one of the things that you said was, I think this was you remember being in your 20s and feeling as if the choice you had to make was so determinant of what you would be doing for the rest of your life. Wisdom, experience, and age have taught me that this is not the case. The most important path is the one that makes your heart sing, and the universe will help you get there and thrive. And I love that.
Big yes. In that particular case, Tom was confused about, not so much confused, but just wasn't sure, how do I go? What do I do? Do I go to college? Do I do this? Do I do that? And I reminded him during my session with him that, you know what, even though we may not be certain, we make a choice, that choice is not determining what happens the rest of our life. It's going to determine what you may do in the near term, but it doesn't mean that you have to keep doing what you're doing. And you're making, hopefully, and I've learned this a lot of times the hard way, to follow my heart. And when I do that, boy, things just line up. And the world opens up and it's so much more fun generally, right? There's always some bumps in the road, but yeah. And it's interesting. I know that we didn't talk about this, but I was on another podcast. Well, I think I mentioned Doug Beitz to you. He has men on his show that are following their intuition. That's what men who follow their intuition. And I'm like, yes. And his premise is, if a man would follow his intuition one time a day, we'd have a better world. And I'm like, I love that. And that's what I try and tell people is follow your heart, not your head, because things will open up for you so much easier and life will be so much easier. And it's lessons that I had to learn over the decade. I got a distinct telepathic message a few months ago. They showed me just the door opening, and well, guess what? The telepathy tapes came in, Shannon came in, Doug Beitz came in, and this thing is going crazy good. So yeah, follow your intuition passionately.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Is there anything else you want to leave anyone with? I know that advice, that wisdom can be applied certainly to caregivers as well.
Absolutely. And I would say, my message to caregivers is almost always don't do this alone. You cannot, and specifically for someone who's caring for an Alzheimer's patient, right? Don't do this alone. Oh, reach out, get help. When people offer help, take it. Call the Alzheimer's Association. They have an 800 number that I used one time. It's 24/7, 365 days a week. I called them once at 4 a.m. because of an issue I was having with Denise. I reached out. And so I recognized early on I couldn't do this by myself. And so I say that to other caregivers, don't do this, don't isolate, reach out, accept help, and you'll be a better caregiver and your loved one will acknowledge that.
Maggie McCormack.
Final words of wisdom. I think seriously, the most important thing is people to begin, if they haven't already, a love affair with themselves, like the self-discovery, the know thyself, just being curious about all the things, whether they're good or bad, just being curious about what's happening on the inside and connecting with themselves. And in nature is like, there's a reason we feel amazing in nature because we're from nature. So literally just being curious about themselves, walking in the forest, and meditation, because that's where we can listen. It can even be a walking meditation, walking in nature, that can be a walking meditation, but just being curious to find out about themselves, because and and love. Like, I mean, that's where, are we leaving more love on the planet or more fear on the planet? So it starts at home. It starts with ourselves. It's like it's a wonderful service. It's a community service to heal ourselves.
Dr. Eben Alexander.
I think the most important thing is for people to realize how important beliefs are and to start adventuring by seeing themselves as this higher soul over multiple lifetimes that's here to bring good to the world, to make other people much more kind of comforted with their living and harmonious sense of coexistence. That the more we focus on those kinds of very positive interrelationships, the more it can lead to a very positive development in this world at large. And I think if you'll experiment with your power of belief and meditation, you will rapidly find that you are a far more willful being than materialist scientists would grant you. In fact, many materialist scientists would scoff at you for even claiming to have free will. So for you to have a will that leads this world in the right direction and focuses on the higher good and on sharing love and compassion with your fellow beings and recognizing this is not just about humans, but how we treat animals, how we coexist, because they are also richly spiritual beings. In many ways, a richer spiritual being than a human that has a linguistic center that can talk it out of some of the greatest spiritual observations it might make. That's what this whole kind of revolution and discussion is all about. But I welcome you to the revolution. The world is changing rapidly, and it's changing in a way that it can be very friendly and accommodating to loving, compassionate souls.
Elyse Cathrea.
I think I would say that we live in a world, like we've talked about pushing and doing all the things. And I think healing can feel like that too, right? There's endless self-help books. There's endless things that we can, heal and do. And for me, somatic work, I love it because yes, it's healing, but it can also be in a way that is slow, that is gentle, and it doesn't have to feel so overwhelming. At minimum, maybe you're not digging back into all of the hardships, but you're just learning how to be in the present and be with your body and experience the here and now differently. And one of the beautiful underpinnings of somatic work is that you are whole, you are complete, and your body knows what to do. Your spirit knows what to do. Your mind does know what to do. It's just about kind of clearing the cobwebs. So you're not broken. You don't have to feel like you have to endlessly heal everything that's wrong with you and your blocks and all these things. You actually have all of that within you. It's just learning to allow your system to do what it needs to do, what it intuitively knows to do.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. Wasn't that an awesome recap of the words of wisdom from all our guests over the last 6 months? I know I really enjoyed it. If something really resonated with you, check out that person's full podcast. I know you'll really enjoy it. And once again, please like, subscribe, follow, all the things. It helps more people find this content, and I am looking forward to the next 6 months. So have a fabulous week.